Hey guys, Casual Crono here. Not that long ago, I put out a request to see what characters you want me to feature in these character development series. Several of you wanted me to showcase Anabel ES. She's a newer character, so I don't have nearly as much experience with her as I do some of the characters I've made videos about, but I have played around with her, and I feel that I have at least enough of a grasp of her, I guess you could say, to showcase her abilities, skills, and kind of explain my take on her. Keep in mind that all these character development series are kind of my perspective on how to use these characters. It is not necessarily the best way to use them, and it is not necessarily the only way to use them. This is just how I use them, but it seems to work. So Anabel is a very interesting character. She can function as a DPS or as a tank. Just to be clear, I did pull her Stellar Awakened already, and I had enough points that I have put in, and I have all abilities. So if you have Anabel ES and you don't have her Stellar Awakened, I am going to be using some skills and such that you might not have access to. For example, Justice. But that said, this is how I've geared her for some tests. She has the Void Lance, which improves her critical rate by 100% and improves her type attack. She has the Guidance Bracelet, which improves her type attack, and I gave her one power badge for now. She could equip a second badge, but a lot of people, when they first pull her, won't have 120 light points. Grasta-wise, since I'm going to use her first as a DPS character, the best Grasta are the Power of Pain or the Power of Poison series. So I have 3 Power of Pains on her. None of them are upgraded. They're just basic Grastas. So Anabel has a number of skills. So she has prayers, first of all. Paladin's Path, for example. It restores all parties' hit points by 50%. It restores their mana, and then Anabel will gain a shield that is 5,000 points. When she casts this, she begins praying, and all damage done by all party members improves by 50% as well if she's in DPS stance. If she's in tank stance, though, it does something different, and we'll get into that when we do the tank side of her. She does have the ability to inflict poison and pain permanently on enemies. If she's in DPS stance, she can also deploy Fire Zone. Other skills that she has something called Divine Dusk. And Justice over here, her stellar ability skill, casts both Divine Dusk and Paladin's Path. First Paladin's Path, then Divine Dusk. That's why I don't have either of those over here. If you don't have her Stellar Awakened, you will probably want Paladin's Path to be one skill and Divine Dusk to be another skill for sure. But what Divine Dusk does, improves a party's power, intellect, speed for 3 turns. It attacks all enemies, it's a fire type, and all those buffs are doubled, and the user gains lance-equipped characters damage 100% 1 turn. So basically, it really beefs up the team's offense. If she's a tank, it does different things. So those are the 3 big skills that she has. And if you don't have Justice, I would probably put in Divine Dusk and Paladin's Path and have these as your 3 skills. If you have someone else setting Pain and Poison, you may not need Nadir Pierce, because if someone else casts Pain and another character casts Fire Stance, you really don't need this skill at all, and you could swap it out for something else. Other notable skills, she can improve the team's resistance. She can give the team regen, including mana regen. She can restore all statuses that way as well. And she can do other fire type attacks and so forth. So for the purposes of this, I'm going to presume that we have access to Justice. And those are the skills I'm going to be working with. So let's check her out. Do I have sidekicks? I do. I should remove them. So let's check out what Anabel is like on the test dummy. The way she works, if Anabel ES is by herself, She's neither a guiding light or luring shadow character. She's just a regular old character. For example, if I cast Nadir Pierce, which inflicts pain poison, if she was in guiding light, it would deploy Fire Stance. If she was in luring shadow, it would deploy Defense Wall. If I cast it with no support characters, neither one occurs. So she is completely by herself right now. One other thing that she has, her first skill, her basic skill, she gets one thing called Momentous Thrust. It is preemptive. It is improved greatly. You can see it has a extra large strength times 15. It's a guaranteed critical. It also removes all buffs from the enemy. So if you're fighting a boss that has a ton of buffs, you can catch Momentous Thrust and it removes them all. You can only do this basically once per battle, or if there is a way to restore it, I don't know what it is. This is what it looks like. Ooh, she did 800,000 damage. And now it is just Lance Strike. So we're going to wrap this up and give her some party members. So to force her into the Guiding Light stance, we have to give her party members that are light-based. Let's find some very basic characters to use. Light, light, light. All right. And then Anabel herself is light. So we have 4 light characters. If you have 2 light characters and 2 shadow characters, nothing happens. So you need at least 3 light characters, which means one character could be a shadow character. Really? I don't have... Oh, somehow I got shade clicked in there. So here, for example, I have a light character, a light character, a light character, and 1 shade character. If it's a 3-to-1 ratio, the light still wins out, and she will start the battle in Guiding Light stance.
We fight evil with prayer.
How do we know she's in Guiding Light stance? If you click her ability, you will see Guiding Light. She has 100 extra power, 100 extra intellect, and physical damage is now increased based on her max HP value. It says 1 turn, but as the fight goes on, it's like that every turn. Once you start the fight, you stay in that stance the rest of the fight. So it's always determined by the front row characters at the start of the fight. So we have 3 light characters, 1 shadow, therefore she is Guiding Light. Now if we cast Nadir Pierce, it will deploy Raging Fire Stance. And there it is. Turns left 4. And if we check her status, even though it says 1 turn, it still shows 100 power, 100 intellect. So I'm pretty sure this is here to stay. So she does have other abilities. If you have, her Stellar Awakened, if you have Miglance Palace allies in the front, extra things happen, stuff like that. But anyway, so the enemy has Pain Poison. I could start attacking. I could buff up. I'm going to go ahead and cast a regen. So you saw against the previous dummy when she was by herself, she did not have the benefit of the extra 100 power. She did not have the benefit of her MP converting to strength. When we cast Justice this time, we're also under a fire zone. So now she does a decent bit more damage. And her Momentous Thrust also does more damage. And just lance strike it. So now let's go ahead and pair her up with some actually helpful characters for a change. And let's see how we can maximize her damage. To showcase Anabel with a mid-level gear and mid-level teammates, I've chosen for her party Aisha, Sukiya, and Partitio. Anabel has the Void Lance as a weapon. It gives her 100% critical rate and improves her type attack. The Guidance Bracelet also improves type attack. A lot of people have basically power badges. I gave her a plus 25 power badge, and to mimic a mid-level character, I am not giving her a second badge, even though she could equip one. Grasta-wise, she has 3 Power of Pains. That's it. Nothing upgraded. She also happens to have her Miglance Palace Valorchant Grasta, but it doesn't give her any power or anything like that. Now, do keep in mind, though, she is fully Stellar Awakened. I don't have the ability to remove the points, so she does have the extra boost in stats and HP and max levels and everything. She's at level 84, so there is room for growth as well. As far as her teammates, I've chosen these 3. Aisha, with her skills, can set Fire Zone and buff the team and debuff the enemy. For gear, I've chosen mid-level gear. She has a Plasma Rod, Plasma Ring, and she has a 35-point Int badge. My support characters tend to have health, so I've given her 600 health here, 600 health here, and only 300 health there. So she is sitting at just shy of 5,000 health. Sukiya, while she's not technically a free character, she is one of 2 characters you can choose from and get for free if you complete whatever chapter it was, 65 or something like that. And she is an older character, so a lot of people do have her. As far as gear, I just have her Manifest Weapon, a Plasma Ring, and just a regular old HP-MP badge. Grasta-wise, she has Enhance if max hit points fire, so she's boosting Anabel ES by 10% as long as Anabel has full health, which between Anabel's personal shield and prayers and everything, it shouldn't be that hard to keep her at max health as long as the tank is doing what the tank needs to do. And then the other 2 Grasta basically are health Grasta. 600 health here, 600 health there. She is not Stellar Awakened, so this is just a simple level 80 Sukiya. For a tank, I chose Partitio. He is a fire user. And I've given him his personal gear, Traveler's Bow and Merchant's Ring. For badge, I just gave him a 300 hit point badge. And he is not Stellar Awakened either. He is just a normal level 80 Partitio. His skills are Arrow of Fortune, which reduces power and intellect. It also technically improves the party's critical rate, but with the Void Weapon, Anabel should be critting all the time anyway. And then to get Rage, he has Boss Has Your Back, and Special Treatment gives the team a regen and improves his type resistance. Sukiya's skills: Scalding Serenade, which reduces fire resistance, and it stacks, so if I keep casting it, they get weaker and weaker to fire. She has Howling Surge, which reduces enemies' power by 30% and physical resistance by 50%. Anabel does physical damage, so this is helping Anabel's damage. And then I have, I'm not going to pronounce that right, Cogitated Deluge, which will restore the user's health, and it technically boosts katana characters, but no one else is a katana user, so that one's just kind of there in case Sukiya needs a quick health boost. Since it's a free team, I have free sidekicks. I have the healer Iridian, so every turn Iridian will heal back some health. And then I have Kurobo, the first sidekick, because his aura activates on taking fire damage, and this team is definitely going to do fire damage. So the bosses, whatever I'm fighting, their power and intellect will be permanently reduced for the fight. So I figure that will help reduce the damage, so therefore it will help keep Partitio alive. And Partitio has 3 grasta, each one giving 300 health. I don't really care what the effects are. And if I had some HP ores, I'd probably toss those on as well. But again, mid-level team, he has over 5,000 health. Let's see how he does with the grasta that he has. So that's the team. I don't have any reserve characters, just to show basically this team's power on its own. Keep in mind that if you do have shareable grasta, Anabel is from Miglance Palace and is a Sweet Tooth, and there are grasta for both of those. So if you have another character that's a Sweet Tooth, for example, you can give them grasta and put them back there. Also, if you have any shared grasta that boosts Lance users, you could throw in just any Lance users back there and put on that grasta. But this is just to showcase what these characters can do, so you can always make your team even more powerful. So let's go check this team out. So let's test this team on a boss that's weak to fire, the Insula Ventorum. So on turn 1, we'll go ahead and start the regen process. We'll go ahead and deploy Fire Stance. We'll go ahead and reduce the boss's power and physical, and inflict rage. Between the sidekick and the end of turn heal, not too bad. So turn 2, we're going to go ahead and beef up type resistance. We will go ahead and start stacking. We'll beef up the team's power, and we need to inflict pain. Now I could blow the AF bar right now and bring this down to half health. But I'm thinking let's go ahead and just try a Justice and see how strong it is even outside of the AF bar. So we'll go ahead and blaze Concerto, we'll do another stack, and we will do Arrow of Fortune to reduce intellect. Sure enough, she did enough damage to the boss to bring it down to its HP stopper. Now at the HP stopper, it does redeploy Wind Stance, so we need to take care of that. We could do another Justice. We could blow the AF bar, do Flame Serenade. There's all sorts of things we can do. We know that we can probably just deploy Flame Serenade and destroy the boss on this turn, so let's have some fun. We'll blow the AF bar. During the AF bar, we'll spam Justice. We'll work in one Flame Serenade and then Jewel Concerto. We'll spam Scalding Serenade. These two both last for 5 turns, so we can spam Arrow of Fortune. So we're going to be spamming pretty much all fire attacks. And we should hit the burst ability. Flame. There we go. Now the boss is already dead. We're just having fun here. So let's do Justice in burst mode and just look at the damage. She heals up everyone. Looks like about 106 million, followed by 417 million hit. So that was what, like 600 million in one burst. And of course we're still doing damage. All 9s. So that's an example of Anabel ES being used as a DPS with a relatively free team. Sukiya is the only one that's not free, but you know, she's a choice when you complete one of the chapters, like chapter 65 or whatever chapter it is. And she's an older character, so a lot of people have her. So that was just the 4 of them, Iridian, and then Kurobo. For my advanced team, I've paired Anabel with several other fairly meta characters. Sukiya Alter, Iffy, and Radias. All 3 are fire users, which helps. And we are able to do an Awaken Zone, we can do Pain Poison, Radias is just an awesome tank, and background support, Suzette and Soira. So I'll go over the gear. And Anabel has the Elpis Spear, which currently is the best weapon in the game for her. I've chosen the Dryad Spangle for her armor. It gives her a boost in her critical strength damage. For badges, I picked the Dragon's God badge for extra power and a little bit of MP consumption reduction, and the Vitality badge as long as she's at max health, which given her shields, she should be at max health a decent bit. Her damage increases by 20%. Grasta-wise, she has Power of Venom with Bullseye, Power of Pain with the MP consumption. Whoops. And the final Grasta, another Power of Pain with Adversity for the fights that have more than one. And at the moment, I just have an extra Endurance and Spirit Miglance. I really don't have anything offensive to give her. I have some Paladin proofs, but that's about it. And remember, Stellar-wise, she is fully Stellar Awakened, so do keep that in mind if you don't have her Stellar Awakened. She is at level 84, so there is still a little bit more room for growth. For her support team, I have Sukiya Alter. She has the Dryad Spear, Subspace Bracelet, which gives her health, and the HP Badge, which gives her 1,000 health. Grasta-wise, pretty much health, health, and health. So Sukiya has 6,500 unbuffed health. I know that some people would like to try and squeeze out every last bit of damage possible with their characters, and some people would probably throw 3 Power of Pains on Sukiya. You can do that. I mean, it's your game. Play it your way. I tend to find that if I'm focusing on one person, like Anabel, for DPS, I want the other characters to be able to take the hits and survive. So that's kind of how I play my game. You do you. Iffy is also built for survival. She has the upgraded Purity Staff for some damage decreased over time, some status resistances, some extra speed. She has the Subspace Ring, and she has a 1,000 hit point badge and one that also reduces her attack. She doesn't really attack that often, so at least the way I use her. And Grasta-wise, all health as well. 300 HP ores on 300 HP Grastas. And she has her first level Valor Chant Grasta. Radias is built for health. She has pretty much no speed, but one of her 2 skills is preemptive. And that would be her Prominence Purge skill, so speed really doesn't matter. You could make an argument that speed matters trying to keep the AF bar going, but So she has the Illusion Speed, which gives health. She has the Elpis Spangle, which gives health. And she has 2 badges from Toto's Theater World that gives 4,000 health. And her Grasta are all health-based with the Light Shadow HP upgrade on each one. And then she has the true Crimson Knight proof with 900 more health. So she has 13,000 health. And for those of you that have not watched my video on her, the reason I focus on health, when she casts Overwhelm, she gains a shield, which is her max health. So whenever I cast Overwhelm, she effectively doubles her health and has almost 27,000. So that's why I do that. Sidekicks are Tetra and Kurobo. Kurobo because this is a fire team, so the enemies will always be taking fire damage. Though do keep in mind, if I'm fighting someone that does fire damage on me, I also get affected by that aura. And then Tetra, just simply one of the best sidekicks in the game. For support, Anabel is from Miglance Palace, is a Sweet Tooth Lance user. She's mounted, She has a shield, and she is a fire user. I don't believe Mounted has a personality grasta, so the only ones we can work with are Sweet Tooth, which Suzette is a lance user that has Sweet Tooth, which means I can put 2 lance sharing grastas here. It just so happens the game has 2 enhance if max HP lances. I've never actually tested to see if they actually do stack or if they don't, but that's what I have Suzette with. I have both of those equipped. And then I have regular Soira, her just 4-star base. She's a fairly common character, but she is a lance user. You can use any lance user you want, but she has the power of Inferno Lance, enhance at low HP in case Anabel is taking damage, and then she is a Miglance Palace person, so she has the shared grasta to improve type attack for Miglance users. So Soira is holding the Miglance grasta, Suzette is holding the Sweet Tooth grasta. Therefore, both of them are beefing up Anabel. And then they have various lance grastas. So let's test out this team on a super boss. To showcase the advanced team, I'd like to fight the Karakuri Heart of Ro. According to the wiki rankings, it's a level 10 super boss, and at the moment it only goes up to level 11. It is weak to fire, and it does not have any barriers. So on turn 1, Anabel is going to go ahead and we'll do Moral Will. We'll deploy Fire Stance, Pain Poison, and Overwhelm. Turn 2, I usually use it to buff. So we're going to do Surging Blaze and Nocturnal Procession. We'll go ahead and get a Prominence Purge going. And we'll go ahead and just Justice it. See how she does. We now have a prayer going. We have the buffs now from Sukiya and Iffy. We'll go ahead and Overwhelm again. In her case, we'll just toss on a shield. In her case, we'll go ahead and start reducing fire resistance, and we'll try another Justice. And now she does about close to 400 million in that attack. And I believe we have hit the 60% HP stopper. Well, let's just go ahead and keep going. We'll do another Justice. We'll do another Shakurin. When he hit the HP stopper, he cleared himself of debuffs, so we're going to Rosa Liliac again, and we're going to Overwhelm again. And I think we may have hit his 30% HP stopper. And because she went first, it already has the Rosa Liliac debuff and 1 stack of Overwhelm on it. And just for fun, let's see what the Justice Burst does. I'm pretty sure that this is the end of the fight. Yep. 620 million, and then there was a crit of 346, and then a 100 million something. So she did about 1 billion damage with that burst. And keep in mind, after the burst, if the boss was still alive, I still have my turn. So that boss was very, very simple, with Anabel ES being the main damage dealer. Now, we could make the argument that Radias is just a really overpowered tank and made that fight simple. So why don't we switch back to Partitio as the tank? He has the same gear and grasta as before. Well, let's give him 1 power of rebirth. I'll give an extra 300 health. Steal that from Orlea. Do I have any others worth getting? Light Shadow, Light Shadow, Light Shadow, Light Shadow. Sound Body doesn't really help much. Light Shadow and Power of Regen. I could bother and try and upgrade him even further, but let's just go with this, and we'll leave him with his personal gear. And remember that he is... Technically, I could Stellar Awaken him, but he does not have any Stellar points. He's just a regular level 80 Partitio. We're going to take the same general philosophy as before. Since Partitio isn't quite as strong, let's go ahead and Moral Will first. Fire Zone, Rosa, and he's going to inflict rage and improve his physical resistance. Alright, on turn 2, we're going to go have him improve his type resistance. We will go ahead and stick with the original plan, Nocturnal, Surging Blaze, and we'll cast a Justice. That'll also give him the benefit of the prayer. Alright, looks like he died anyway, but that's why we have Iffy. However, that was his one and only life. Alright, because Sukiya and Iffy buffed, Justice should do a lot more damage now. Let's go ahead and reduce fire resistance. Let's do that. And does he still have his buffs? Looks like he still has his buffs. So let's do Arrow of Fortune. That does reduce the enemy's power and intellect some. Looks like Rosa Liliac needs to be reapplied as well. Alright, let's see Anabel now. Alright, pretty sure we hit the HP stopper. And like before, my team is going after Anabel, so he's already debuffed with Rosa Liliac and the arrow. Alright. We'll do Boss Has Your Back again. We'll do a Nocturnal Procession again. We'll do a Shakura and Rambo and Justice. And I think we hit the 30% HP stopper. Sukiya's alive. And then, since we're finished with the HP stoppers, the next Justice is going to kill him. You could blow the AF bar and burn through all of the abilities. I mean, there's a bunch of different things we can do right now. Let's just have some fun and do the AF bar thing. So we'll blow that. We are in an Awakened Fire Zone. So we're just going to spam the first skill on everyone. Alright, you can see that the boss is already destroyed. If he was giving you trouble, we could pause, do Justice.
Direct your prayers to my sword.
Let's see, the first two hits are in the 150 millions and 600 million. So that was a grand total of probably around 900 million. And we're still spamming. Doesn't really matter, he's dead. Make it end. So there we just wiped out a level 10 super boss featuring Anabel ES
It lights a path,
and her
gives way
majestic
to
steed. And we did not have Anabel, or not Anabel, we did not have Radias ES, supporting us. So this was done with a free tank. And not a particularly powerful one at that. So there you go, Anabel cleaning up some level 10 super bosses. Now that we've explored Anabel ES as a damage character, let's check out the other half of her. In this party, I have 3 shadow users in the front line. And now if we check out the test dummy,
Keep cool during the fight.
Anabel will no longer be a damage dealer. She has converted into a tank. Right off the bat, we can see down here that it looks like her hit points have doubled. She has 13,672. If we click on her, instead of the 100 power and 100 intellect, we see that the user's HP is doubled. And at turn start, attacks that would hit all allies only hit the user. However, she takes double damage. So if the boss does an attack on everybody, she will take all the damage. What she does not have is rage. There's none of her skills give her rage. This one deploys defense wall instead of fire stance, so let's go ahead and do that. And you'll see that we have defense wall. And it's a weird one. It's not one that's very common. Damage taken and damage caused are both reduced. So if I'm trying to destroy something and reach damage cap and things like that, this is actually preventing my team from doing it too. So it does not include fixed damage. So pain poison damage, if it's a battle of attrition and you want to basically poison something to death, this stance might actually help with that because you can poison faster and the boss is still doing less damage to you. And let's see. And Divine Dusk has a different ability as well. If you have Divine Dusk or if you cast Justice, now it reduces power, intellect, and speed on the boss. So instead of buffing you and making you stronger, it's making the enemy weaker. So that means they're doing less damage, helping you to survive more easily. Now I'm going to quickly, if we do Momentous Thrust, keep in mind she still has her Pain Poison grastas equipped, and she still has her offensive gear equipped, even though she's a tank. So Momentous Thrust doesn't do nearly as much damage. With a fairly weak team, it was doing 1.3 million. This one only did about 900,000. And it's gone. So let's go ahead and finish this up. And now that we know that she can be a tank, if we manipulate the front line, we need to make sure that we give her the gear and grasta to tank instead of to be a DPS user. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. In order to showcase Anabel ES's tanking ability, I'm choosing to fight Suzette's True Manifest fight. The team I have designed is kind of a mid-game free-ish character team. I have Sukiya with her Manifest, a Plasma Ring, and let's go ahead and swap that out for a power badge. We'll do 25. Grasta-wise, she has Power of Pains, 2 of which are upgraded. One with Bullseye, one with MP Consumption. Third one, just a basic Power of Pain. Garuru also has the Pain series. He also has MP, Bullseye, and just a regular one. And he has his Manifest weapon, his personal piece of armor, and just a 25 int badge. Again, mid-level type of gear. We have Xion, a free character as well. From the Tales series, she has her personal weapon, a plasma ring, and then just a 25 power badge. Grasta-wise, she has 3 power of fires, the power of the blaze. And then we have Anabel. She is now geared as a tank. For a weapon, basically what I was thinking, and again, I think a lot of people are still trying to figure her out at this point. I know she's been out for a little while, but I don't really see her used or even really talked about that much, mainly because of the lack of rage. And I think you'll see why that's annoying in this next fight. But her main claim to fame is the fact that when she's in tank mode, her hit points double. So the more hit points you can give her, the more she'll have to survive with. So as far as weapons, I looked for weapons that have health. The fishhook spear actually gives health. So I've given her the fishhook spear, a very common piece of armor that you can get fairly early on is the tempered bracelet. I have a level 7 tempered bracelet from a while ago, so I equipped that. There are other pieces of armor that give hit points as well, and then I gave her a 300 hit point and 30 MP badge. I could give her a second badge, but again, if you just get her, you probably don't have 120 light on her, so I'm kind of trying to mimic that. Again, keep in mind, her whole stellar board is awakened, so she does get the benefit of having some extra health through it, and stats, and skills. Her skill lineup is going to be the same. So we have those 4 characters, the gear and grasta. Sidekick-wise, still the same as well. Karobo, Iridian, and I have no back row support except for Suzette. So let's just see how this team does against a true manifest fight. Now this is Suzette's true manifest.
Blade, lend me your power.
And this one is the one that we have to kill. So we are going to reduce all enemies' power and physical resistances. We're going to go ahead and boost the team's wind resistance. In her case, I can start a regen, I can reduce enemies' physical resistance, or I can reduce enemies' power. So that's the one I'm going to do. And we are going to Nadir Pierce. Now in Luring Shadow, this deploys Defense Wall instead of Fire Stance. So do keep that in mind.
Behold, the ancient despair.
Because there's no rage, the enemies are attacking other people in the team when they use single target attacks. We're now going to buff up physical resistance and type resistance. Actually, you know what? We're going to get a regen going first. So now we're going to reduce physical and magic for them. We'll go ahead and start spreading Inferno. And we'll go ahead and reduce fire resistance. So on turn 2, you noticed that the real Suzette, she did an attack that normally would attack everyone, and it went just to Anabel ES and her 18,000 health. So she was definitely not in danger of dying. Alright, let's go ahead and get a prayer going. We'll do Justice. We'll go ahead and attack again, spreading Inferno again, and let's see, 3 turns should be fine. Scalding again. You'll see that Anabel is not doing nearly the level of damage that she did before. If she's your tank, you need to set up someone else to be the damage dealer. In this particular team, I have Sukiya. Now Anabel does have a counter, and she did counter damage, as you noticed. And that's Divine Dusk's ability, if I remember right. Alright, so let's rebuff, rebuff, rebuff. We have that going, we have Moral Will going, and let's just keep justicing, I guess. See, single targets go to other characters. So if the boss was particularly deadly, that would be a problem. Because of the defensive barrier, because of all the debuffs on the enemies, this boss is not going to be that much of a threat. Unless something surprises me. Okay, we hit the HP stopper. She would have attacked the entire group there, but all the damage went to Anabel. Just to show off, we're going to go ahead and do a burst and have her use Justice. Justice does end with an attack. So she does Divine Dusk, and now she does Justice. Again, that attack would have attacked everybody, but all the damage went to her. And now, let's just go ahead and end the fight. We're going to blow the AF bar and just have everyone spam their attacks. So as you can see, you don't get the huge numbers when she's on defense, but depending on what type of team you set up, if you have someone else doing the damage, like it's a fire team, Minalka is a shadow user. That would be a perfect person to set her up with. If you have Sukiya with her Stellar Awakened, she can be a tremendously powerful damage dealer. So you can build a team with her as the tank. You just have to keep in mind that whatever boss you're fighting can still single target and do damage to other characters. And short of putting on, I think there's some badges that, is it badges? Might be grasta. There is a way to give her rage, but it doesn't last very long. I think it's like a 1 or 2 turn rage thing. So you'd basically be having to cast it every other turn, which would be annoying. So she could become a rage tank. I've seen some people discuss putting a rage tank with her and just having a super ultra defensive lineup. But as I said, probably the easiest way is to pick a really powerful damage dealer and have them beefed up and have Anabel just try to survive long enough for the damage dealer to do their job. Kind of like Radias is on my fire team. Now, the other catch is you are only limited to shadow characters. Sukiya is shadow, Geru is shadow, and Shion is shadow. If any one of these characters was a light character, like Aldo for example, you have 2 shadow and you have 2 light characters, and that's not enough to put her in her defensive luring shadow mode. So you have to have 3 shadow characters. What I have also learned is, in order for her to be a tank, you have to have 3 shadow characters in the front row, but you can swap them out after the first turn and be perfectly fine. Aisha, for example, is a light character. So we're going to fight the same battle now. and swap Aisha in.
Can't wait to burn it
So
all.
3 shadow characters. She is a tank. Very first turn, we're going to swap in Aisha. We'll get a burning shield going. We'll reduce enemies' power and deploy defense wall and inflict poison and pain.
Feel the vibes, watch your spirit rise.
Ancient despair!
So now we have 2 shadow and 2 light characters in the front row. Well, she's still a tank. So you can swap in light characters if you want, and that gives you flexibility. Now, for example, we can deploy Fire Stance. We can go ahead and Spreading Inferno. We can Scalding Serenade. And let's go ahead and cast a Justice. And thanks to that switch, and thanks to the fire zone, you can tell this fight's going a lot faster all of a sudden. So let's get even faster now. We'll go ahead, buff the team up. And let's go ahead and Moral Will, Spreading Inferno again, Scalding Serenade again. There's the buff. Sukiya, already gotten it down. Now we are missing the defensive zone. So if that's important to you, you might not want to swap out a fire zone.
Behold, the ancient despair!
But let's go ahead and have some fun. Let's go ahead and blow the AF bar. We know we're going to win the fight. One more Scalding Serenade probably would do it even without the AF bar. But this will give us a chance to show off the burst. Alright, there's burst, justice in the AF bar.
Prayers to my sword.
So as a tank, we see her doing a decent amount of damage. Yay, pretty numbers. Okay. So 163 million there.
The evil spirits have retreated.
With 2 free characters, 1 kind of sort of free character, but featuring Anabel ES. So the point of that, your front row characters at the very first turn determine if she is a DPS or a tank. Once that determination has been made, you can swap characters out and make your team more powerful, customize it if you need to. The reserves are actually being used as something more than just basic grasta holders. In fact, this character could be your grasta holder, and when you swap out, then you have your 2 grasta holders in the back, like most modern teams these days. So that is a way to make Anabel ES a tank. And there's a bunch of creative ways to make her even more powerful. If you have Claude ES, and if you have other characters like Nona who can buff up hit points and stuff, if her hit points are buffed during the fight, her health doubles based on her new set of health. I personally have gotten her health almost at 70,000. So, in fact, I'll go ahead and show you how that's done. So just to show off how ridiculous Anabel ES's health can get, I've created this team. It's Nona, Jade, and Tuva as the 3 shadow users I have to have in the front row to activate her tanking ability. And then I'm going to swap in Claude, who happens to be a light user, for his skills. So first of all, why these 3? Nona has a skill called Pregaria. When I have 3 Signales, the team's max health goes up by 2,000. To get the Signales, I have to cast Cartello Paradiso 3 times. Each time stacks 1. So that's why I have those 2 skills handy. Jade is a grasta holder and a shadow user. He has Robust Body Lance and Healthy Living for IDA School. So he is giving Anabel 300 health, and he is giving Claude 300 health, and he will be swapped out. Tuva has a skill called Dark Courage, and it just flat out raises the max health by 25%, no questions asked. So that one's nice and easy. In fact, for shadow allies, the duration goes to 6 turns. And then, so why do I have Claude? He has a skill called Empathy that basically will take his health and another character's health, the target of his empathy, and it will basically combine and give them both ridiculous amounts of health. So if I buff health with Nona, buff health with Tuva, and then cast Empathy, their health is going to go up a lot. So why Aldo in the background? He is holding 2 Grasta, Sound Body Dragon, and Robust Body Sword. And that is because Claude is a dragon, and Anabel is and Claude is a sword user. Almost said Anabel is a sword user, and technically her other styles are, but she's a lance user. So he is giving Claude 600 extra health as well. Sidekick-wise, I have Tetra. Tetra's aura improves health by 25% as long as a character gets below 80% health. And then I have Gunts, just because if I blow the AF gauge, which I plan to, all stats go up by 20%. Now, is this a team that can defeat super bosses? No. I'm going to die horribly in this fight. But I am going to show you how to raise Anabel's health to ridiculous levels. So I am going to fight. You can see I have nothing upgraded. So I am going to fight. It doesn't really matter who, because I'm really doing this for the curse. So let's just do Mysterious Chaos Ogre. The curse will damage my team and allow Tetra's aura to kick in. So I need to survive this first turn. So let's go ahead and start beefing up resistances. Let's do type resistance. Let's go ahead and Dark Courage it right now. He is going to swap out with Claude. And we're going to go ahead and get those Signali stacks started.
There you are.
My sword will light the way.
Now Claude will get hit by the curse. And his health should go up. At this point, it doesn't really matter what Claude does. We'll just... let's just do that one. Let's get praying started, though it doesn't really matter. The curse will break her prayer. And let's get pain going, just because why not?
How's this?
I guess Claude hasn't been hurt by the curse enough. We'll hold off on that. You'll notice, however, that Anabel's health is already at about 30,000. Alright. We'll get the third stack. Have him just cast whatever. We'll go ahead and Dark Courage it again, just to make sure that stays up. And let's see, that's a 3-turn thing. We'll go ahead and do Moral Will again.
There you are.
Alright, Claude definitely got Tetra's aura now. Alright, we'll do Justice. We'll do Dark Courage again. Actually, let's just do a regen. Now that we have 3 stacks, we can cast Pregaria and improve the team's health even more. And in his case, we'll just we don't want to awaken these. Actually, we could awaken the defensive zone. Can we? I guess we'll find out.
There you are. I feel reborn. There you are.
You have my thanks.
I feel reborn.
I will not fall.
I guess it doesn't get awakened. Alright, so let's take a look. Thanks to all the buffs and Tetra, Claude has 16,000 health and Anabel ES has 36,000 health. Now, he's going to go ahead and cast Empathy on her. We'll go ahead and keep praying, and we might as well just go ahead and stack up.
Does it hurt?
There you are.
And now with Empathy, you will notice that Anabel has 69,000 health, and Claude, not too shabby on his own, has 64,000 health. So that is just ridiculous amounts of health. I never thought I'd see a character with something like that. And remember that these characters could go higher. You know, if her light points were higher, her health would be higher thanks to the Grasta and Elpis. And if we found ways to buff his health up, you know, if we gave him some Elpis gear, things like that, you know, the Light Shadow or for Grasta, you know, his health could go up even more and then buff hers even more. So it's just absolutely crazy to me. We're actually doing some decent damage on him. Let's just blow the AF bar and see what happens. I have not fought this guy with this team before. I just wanted to show off the health. So we're in a defensive zone. So she'll do shade attacks. He'll do earth attacks. She doesn't even have an attack. I guess she'll do Abyssal Prowess to at least buff up the team. Lance Bow allies 50%, so he should cast that. I've already cast both of those, so we'll do that one for the barrier and then blast that one. And she's in defensive stance. We have defensive wall going, we have defenses going, so I guess she'll just Justice. And if we can get the burst, we'll get the burst. So we'll do 2, 2, 2, 1, and then spam ones and burst at some point too. 2, 2, 2, 1. Alright, there's the burst. We'll Justice it. Wow, that was a lot.
Direct your prayers to my sword.
I honestly did not think I was going to beat this guy. Alright, well, let's just keep spamming. That surprised even me.
Does it hurt?
Well, I guess that's an example of
Does it hurt?
her with an advanced team defeating a boss. Now this was Mysterious Chaos Ogre. It was not the hard version. So, you know, keep that in mind for what you will. But 69,000 health, 64,000 health. We're starting to hit ridiculous levels here. So anyway, that is my video on Anabel ES. You can use her as a DPS, or you can use her as a tank. Keep in mind that if she's a tank, she does not have a rage mechanism. So while she'll absorb the, you know, multi-party attacks, she can't prevent an enemy from attacking one of the other party members. So that is kind of a downside to her. And if you equip like something that gives rage, you can, as I said, I think there's a grasta that allows for that, but I don't think the rage lasts very long, so it might not really be that feasible. So as a tank, impressive HP. She does prayers, she does pain poison, stuff like that. But I think she's probably slightly better as a DPSer if you get her. But she can work either way. As long as you have 3 shadow characters, she will basically enter tank mode. If you have 2 shadow and 2 light characters, nothing will happen. If you have 1 shadow and 3 light characters, or all 4 light characters, she will enter her DPS mode. And then just back her up with the appropriate sidekicks and the appropriate backup support, and just kind of plan ahead. Make sure you know which way you're going with her and prepare accordingly. So I hope this helps you to learn how to use Anabel ES a little bit better. Casual Crono, signing out.